Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. I'm Derek DuPont, storyteller, musician, and brand marketing lead here at Accepted.
And I'm Erica Spires. I'm a New York City actor, a coach with my college audition, and marketer at Accepted.
Today, we're talking with Chelsea and Renee from the Songbook Academy.
They give some helpful insights about how to use the artistic community as a whole to help strengthen their program.
Yeah, and they really give a great playbook of how they've moved things online, virtual this year. And then they also shared a bunch of silver linings that they found from being virtual. So it's really, really helpful.
Without further ado, let's get started.
All right, we're here with Chelsea and Renee from the Songbook Academy. We're super excited to have them on with us today. Thanks for being here, y'all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're so glad to be here.
Awesome. So to kick things off, I'd love to just hear a little bit more about the Songbook Academy. Just for those who are not familiar with it out there, can you just give us a rundown of really just everything about the Academy? What makes it so special?
Absolutely. So the Songbook Academy is an educational program of the Great American Songbook Foundation. We're a nonprofit based in Carmel, Indiana, with a mission to inspire and educate by celebrating the music of the Great American Songbook. So those are those golden age musical theater hits, classic musicals, but also jazz standards. So music sung by Ella Fitzgerald, Frank Sinatra, all those American standards that we all know and love. And our premier educational program is the Songbook Academy, which is a national summer music program for high school singers who love this genre of music. We invite 40 students to participate in a week-long summer music intensive here in Carmel, Indiana, where they get the chance to work with Tony and Grammy award-winning mentors, university educators, music directors who played for Frank Sinatra and Liza Minnelli, and talented peers from across the country.
Wow, that kind of music's my jam. I've just always been curious about, because I always hear about the Great American Songbook.
Yeah.
What years does it span? Is it still is it ongoing? Is it always being added to?
That's a great question. Our unique mission is to preserve the physical materials of the golden age of the Great American Songbook. So we consider that to be, kind of the 1920s to the 1960s, American popular music. But we always say that the songbook is continuing to be written. The general definition is timeless American music that has the power to last. And so when you think about that, there is music that was written in the 50s, 60s, 70s that has, lasted decades. So it's continuing to be written by composers today.
Awesome. It's really cool to hear the program and just what you guys are doing with that. I love that you're keeping the history and just bringing it to new generations. And it's a really cool thing you're working on there. What about you guys? What are your paths that you got to where you are here today? I'm sure that I'd love to hear just stories of people about how they ended up where they are and how their passions kind of brought them to projects that they're working on. So I'd love to hear from you guys how you ended up with the Songbook Academy and your specific roles.
Sure. Well, I've talked a lot, so I'll let Chelsea pick that off.
Cool. Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Chelsea. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the program coordinator for the Songbook Academy. I'm the newest staff member. I started back in February, so it's been quite the journey. But when I was in high school, I did summer programs like Songbook Academy that were similar to the Songbook Academy, but it actually started in my senior year of high school. So unfortunately, I didn't get to enjoy all that you can learn from the Songbook Academy. But I know that this opportunity would have helped me grow, especially as a high school student about to go into college. So if you can participate in the Songbook Academy as a sophomore or a junior, you already have a leg up in your pre-professional training, which is great. And then you can continue to apply to the Songbook Academy and learn something new every year. And last year, we held the Songbook Academy virtually, thanks to the leadership of Renee and our fabulous vocal coaches and music directors and mentors. We were able to help 40 young artists grow as performers.
I'll brag a little bit on Chelsea. She's a stellar vocalist as well. So she has a background in in voice, and has been a great addition to our team. I don't know what we would have done without an extra team member. We're a small team. I'm the only full-time, or before Chelsea, I was the only full-time program staff. So she's been instrumental this year.
That's awesome. So we know that Chelsea, you came in like right during the heart of like COVID shutdowns, right? Or right before that, when it was all exciting, and then all of a sudden everything crashed. So what did that mean for the Songbook Academy? We know that you had to pivot to online, but what was that transition like for you?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I didn't get the experience of in-person like Renee has run, and Renee is also a past participant of the Songbook Academy. So she has a lot of insight into what that experience is like. But I would say we still were able to provide opportunities for students in the virtual world.
If I can help you out, if I can help you out a little bit. I mean, that's a tough question for Chelsea because she jumped in she started with us in February, so we were already kind of rolling in this crazy world. So as I'm sure many other programs can relate to, kind of the roller coaster of 2020 began for us really way back in January when a development staff member stopped by my office and said, well, have you thought of any contingency plans for the summer? And I thought that was crazy at that point, not knowing what the world was going to snowball into. And, come March, our staff is, packing up to work remotely fully. And we began really having those serious conversations about what we wanted for a summer experience in this new world. And specifically for us, we're a national program. So we bring in 40 students from across the country, all dealing with different health and safety guidelines in their own communities, different, school formats. Some schools extended, when they were doing school. So that affected the students' ability to get ready for our program or participate in our program. And then, just the simple challenges of all of our students having different access to technology and the digital resources that they really need to succeed. So I would say early on for us, we leaned on our core mentor team. So at the Songbook Academy, we bring in, these great Broadway artists and professionals, but we also have a core mentor team of 5 music directors and 5 vocal coaches who work one-on-one with our students. And so we brought them all to the table, aka Zoom. We networked with, local health experts, and then, also our staff at the Center for the Performing Arts where we work, to all come to the table and do extensive research and really figure out what this virtual program would be. And I would say that the driving force for us was, yes, we had the conversation about whether we were going to move forward with the program or not, but we were all very committed to offering something for our students to look forward to and to engage with this summer. We did not accept that we were just going to cancel the program. We thought it was really important to offer something. And so I feel like that really kept us focused and, kind of propelled us through our planning process.
Yeah, and going a little bit into the planning process that we created as a group, a few things that we really thought about were streamlining the schedule. Usually we're meeting 10 hours a day, and that's just not feasible in this virtual world, right? We get burnt out staring at a screen all day, and students, especially with online learning, are also feeling that it can be overwhelming and draining. So we narrowed it down to 4 to 5 hours a day. And we also usually do 2 songs of contrasting tempos and styles. And we narrowed it down to 1 song, considering the amount of time that our music directors specifically have to put into preparing recorded tracks for students. We also thought it was really important to connect students and their mentors to in the program prior to the week, so that they were comfortable and ready to kick into work when the week started. And then we also assigned staff as tech support for each Zoom room, so that we didn't have to worry about that, right? Or that our mentors didn't have to worry about that. And then the final thing is we really thought about the final product, which is usually our big final performance, right? So we gave ourselves a week to edit everything and make sure it looks nice and polished, because at the end of the day, Songbook Academy is about the young artists who participate, and we wanted to make sure that they felt proud of what they had accomplished throughout the week.
Those are some really great tips for everyone. I think assigning a staff member to be like the technical guru of each session is really smart, and it would be really helpful for a lot of people who are trying to do that pivot online.
It definitely, I think, gave our mentors the freedom to focus on their teaching and the educational goals and not have to worry about kids missing from rooms and people being on mute. And especially because a lot of our mentors were learning this format themselves. Our mentors are professional musicians. They're not necessarily educators who were going, well, some of them are educators, but some of them are pianists, and they're not working in kind of this technology sphere. So it allowed them the space to learn their part and us to focus on helping the students.
Yeah, this has been we've all been learning how to navigate this virtual space and really make it work. So you guys were really planful, and that's, I think, I would assume that's probably part of why it was so successful for you, is that you had a plan that you could really execute on. And it seems like you thought of a lot of things to make sure that it worked really well. Were there any things that you didn't foresee that you learned and you're putting in your pocket for next year maybe, and how you might do this even better?
Definitely. I mean, I think the biggest thing for us in Songbook Academy, and even just for the organization as a whole this year, was really learning that the virtual world gives us an expanded reach. So, our goal is to reach as many students as possible. And unfortunately, sometimes the in-person element, we only can bring 40 students to Carmel, Indiana. Luckily, because we were able to stream master classes and performances and some extra educational opportunities, we were able to offer something for other students and other educators to engage with and be inspired by, especially during a challenging year. So we definitely learned the benefit of capitalizing on having some hybrid and virtual elements, even when we do return to an in-person program, whenever that may be. So that's definitely something we're considering for 2021. It also, I think we try to look at the silver lining of these things. Also with the virtual world allows us the opportunity to bring in more or some just really unique guest artists that we might not be able to bring in person to the Academy, for timing purposes, or they're they're performing in a Broadway show and they just can't make it for a day because they have one day off a week. So that really, has opened up our brainstorming process when we think about who we could actually bring to work with students and who it would be the most beneficial person to, lead a master class. So, that's, again, a silver lining. I think, when we think about planning for 2021, luckily, this year has forced the world to get comfortable with technology. So I'm excited, looking towards 2021 to be kind of dealing with a different situation. Everyone's comfortable with these online video platforms. They're used to this format. And so I think we can start at a more advanced place and get into an advanced learning, because we've gotten kind of the comfortability part of this conversation out of the way over the last year, which is what people have been, dealing with in their normal lives. Chelsea, anything else? Other surprises from surprises?
Well, I mean, just going off of that, I think the virtual world is really so rapidly advancing that we're finding new platforms and applications that we hadn't heard about, and I think that we've also had an opportunity to reach out to other programs that are like us, which is really great, and sort of brainstorm with them what they're doing, and get an idea of how we can best bring music to our young artists and make sure that they're getting the most out of our program, even if it's virtual. So I would say that's definitely something that's great, is just how quickly the virtual world is advancing. And yeah.
I would say, one other thing that's a great point, Chelsea. It was a surprise, one of the biggest challenges that I thought we were going to face with our virtual program was the community aspect of the program. So one of the greatest benefits of coming to Songbook Academy is joining this family, and then you have this family that you go away from the program with, and you work with creatively, you're lifelong friends. So I thought that was going to be difficult through this kind of virtual world and through a computer screen. And the biggest surprise to me was that it's possible. We were really intentional about creating space for that, and to not pack our day so full with formal classes and workshops and master classes that there wasn't time for students to interact and get to know each other and form those relationships. But it did surprise me. I mean, I would say our virtual class of Songbook Academy students are perhaps even more connected than any other class, because they found other ways to connect, whether it was starting a group chat on WhatsApp or talking for hours and hours and hours on Zoom, even past the time we had designated for their social hour during the week. So I think that has surprised me coming out of this year, that there are great innovative ways to create that community that is so important, I think, especially for artists and just the arts world.
So that just makes me think, the fact that you are able to get together a group of people who still feel very close, no matter whether or not it's virtual. What is that? Does that also reflect the kind of applicant that you're looking for? Obviously, you probably want some great singers, but is there another aspect that you somehow search for, whether you can do that in your initial marketing towards a certain group of people, or is it more like in the interview process that you find that perfect fit?
That's a great question. In our application process, obviously we are looking for great singers, but we're also looking for a really diverse community of artists. So, and I think that's reflective in the genre of music that we're celebrating. So we're not just looking for, Broadway belter number one. We're looking for someone who's, a jazz artist, for someone who is a singer-songwriter, for someone who is a classical soprano, or, so a range of artists. And I think that is the community we're looking to build, diverse voices, diverse backgrounds. And we look for that through the application process, but we look through that through a lens of the story you're telling through your art. So I think that that's probably the most important part of the application process for us. Our screeners are really looking for artists who tell a story, who are not just singing the words on the page, but who have really taken the time to flesh out their emotional story, their emotional connection, and what they're bringing to these classic lyrics and this classic music, kind of in a new light. So I've not thought about it in that way, but that's a great question, Erica.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you for me keyed into what helps is not that we're all looking for the same type and just, are you better than this other belter? It's like we have so many different types of singers, and you can all learn from each other and collaborate and not feel like you're in direct competition with one another. Absolutely.
I think that's probably one of the best aspects of our program, and students walk away saying, I think we just had someone, Chelsea will have to remind me, we just had our Songbook Academy Awareness Day yesterday, where we encourage our students to spread the word about the program. And I believe one of the students shared a testimonial that she wakes up almost every day thinking of one of the songs or one of the voices that she heard from Songbook Academy. And so it is reflective of this program that exposes you to music in all its shapes and forms. And, yes, you do have musical theater nerd, that would be me, who comes to the program and, kind of knows this one lane of music, but you see how it's all interconnected to these other genres. And I think that really sets our students up for success in pursuing whatever they want to pursue as it relates to music.
So thinking back to, February, March last year, when you were having to make the decision of, do we try and do this or do we just not do it this year? There's a lot of organizations that we work with that have had been confronted with that same decision to have to make. And some choose to, try and pivot and make it work and innovate. Some choose to maybe take a pause and reevaluate. What advice would you give to people who are in a similar position right now, looking at this year, still uncertain, not really knowing for sure what things are going to look like, and they're having to make the decision? Do we come back? Do we try and do this? Can we do this? What's some advice you would give?
Well, I'm sorry, I don't want to jump on Chelsea's toes with talking too much. But I would say, from my perspective as just the director of a program and having to look at, the pressures of whether you can move forward, especially when you're talking about budget or, financially, if you're able to, one thing you have to have those difficult conversations. But I would say a really important thing for organizations to consider while they're doing that, to serve students, is to really prioritize communication. So, you might not be able to give an answer now as to what you're going to be doing this summer, but at least lay out the timeline for them and be transparent in when you're going to be making those decisions and what you're doing to make those decisions, to make parents and students feel more comfortable, either one, moving forward through an application process, because that's something to consider. Well, if this program's not going to happen, should I even apply? If the summer is crazy, should I even apply? Yes, I think all students should apply, right? Because there's organizations that are coming up with really innovative solutions and programs for the summer. And so if you don't apply, you miss out on being a part of that, innovative program. So I would say communication is really key, even if you don't know the answer right now. Just laying out that timeline for students and parents. In terms of the decision itself, I think you have to take, we are really lucky. The Songbook Academy is really lucky to have a dedicated core mentor team who is committed to doing everything we needed to do to make the transition. And that really did mean bringing some people from square one, don't even have a working computer, to being able to work on Microsoft Teams or Zoom or whatever platform you're going to use. And so, one, I think you do have to look at the people you have on board and the steps you're going to have to take to get everyone to that place where it can be a successful program. See if you can do it in time. Obviously, there's a needle, especially for programs looking to offer something for the summer. But I think ultimately, like I said, we were committed to offering something, and our mentor team, even though many of them were not in a position with technology to get to that place, they were so committed to the students. And so I think you need to read that energy in the room and see if you're going to be able to come together and get there. That's a general advice I have. Chelsea, any thoughts?
And I think that just students in general, especially when everything shut down and it seemed like all hope was lost for people that want to do this as a career, it was great just to have an opportunity to continue their growth as an artist. And I think that a lot of programs like us need to keep that in mind, is that we need to meet students where they are. Just because the world seems to end doesn't mean that we have to stop what we're doing. We're going to continue our mission and make sure that students are getting that opportunity to better themselves as artists.
And along with that, I think for the organization's sake, not feeling so constrained by what you've done before, that was a huge turning point for us. So very early on, I would say, January, February, we were trying to figure out, okay, how do we make this exact program work exactly online and look exactly like it did? That it's just not possible. There's some things that our program, other people's programs do in person that they cannot be just molded to that virtual world. So I think once we kind of cleared that out of our minds and started with a blank slate, blank slate, we were able, we had the freedom to create to design and create a program that was able to be successful in the virtual world and specifically made for the virtual world with our strongest educational goals in mind. So, a few examples of that for us, we were so stuck on our typical week schedule that we were trying to work in that framework. And immediately when we kind of took that away and just were able to come to the table with, free minds, we were able to design something that would work for students and they would get great benefit out of. So I would say for organizations looking to offer something, don't be constrained by what you've done in the past. Really try to innovate for this new world that we're in now. Find new ways to advance your mission.
That's such helpful advice. Thank you. And Chelsea, what you were saying about meet the students where they are, life doesn't stop for them. And you all have shown that you're setting an example for these students, whether or not we're online or whatever, life has to go on in some way. And I think that's really a beautiful message is, we're going to change what we do. So we're still serving you and you still have something to look forward to. And it's not like, oh, we're just keeping, I'm sure some programs, and I know that programs I've been a part of have felt like this. Are we just doing this at this point to is this taking somebody's money and it doesn't feel right because we can't offer them what we normally do? But that's not what it's all about, right? It's still continuing and learning how to adapt and teaching, in turn, your students how to adapt.
Well, you have to have confidence within your own program too, right? If you don't believe that this program virtually is going to offer something to your students, it's not. You have to be in it 100% and truly come up with programming and workshops, classes, opportunities for them that they are going to grow from. And you have to get everybody on board. If you have one naysayer, it changes the entire energy of the program. So you really just have to go all in and be completely committed to the work that you're putting in to bettering the lives of young performers.
That is so true. Yeah. And I think that's a testament to both of your leadership and making it happen, because it takes, going in with confidence and leadership and being able to pull it off. So kudos to you guys for really doing a great job at that. That's really, really awesome. So I'd love to hear from the Accepted standpoint, because obviously we are a little biased by Accepted over here. How did Accepted help in making this process kind of fluid and helping to keep things rolling virtually?
And 1 second, if you don't mind, I need to just plug in my computer because it just started draining. So I didn't want to interrupt anybody.
It was great timing because my computer froze right when you were saying that prompt. So if you wouldn't mind, could you say that prompt one more time?
Yep. I'll start over. So from the now I have to start over again because now I'm going to mess up all my words probably. So we're definitely a little biased by Accepted over here. I'd love to hear your perspective on how Accepted helped you guys make the transition virtually more fluid. How did we help in making that happen?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Accepted. Since I took on, my role here at the Songbook Foundation, we've been working with Accepted the whole time. And I can't praise your team enough just for being communicative and just really responsive whenever anything comes up. So, I would say a big thing for us, it did this change in the decision-making, the length of our decision-making really did change the, we have an application process, but two, we have kind of a registration process for our students who are accepted. And it's a pretty robust registration process. They go through 3 or 4 different phases, where they fill out personal biographical information and then, make payments and other information that we need from them. And we pretty much had to completely rework all of those phases. And so, Accepted was really helpful in, designing just a clearer process for students, because at that time we still hadn't quite made the decision of whether we were going to go virtual or in person or cancel at that point. And so we were able to, really work with the staff who helps design and implement the application process to create very clear headers with information about all of the different possible contingency plans. We were able to, kind of survey our students what their comfortability level was with the virtual world. And so we were able to get a lot of information, I think, through the Accepted platform, even through the application process, to give us the information we needed to make a decision. So I can't recommend your team enough. And I think the great thing that we learned was there's even more. We've done things in a traditional way the last 4 years that I've been here, and it was really clear to me last year how many more things you can do through Accepted's platform that I just didn't know, and I was so used to kind of our age-old way of application. So this was a great year to kind of really expand that knowledge of what Accepted can do.
Yeah, were there specific marketing tools that you found to be more useful to you than others, or what has helped you via the marketing aspect of Accepted?
The marketing side of things, specifically through Accepted, the recruitment network. Well, Chelsea's been doing that. Again, I'm talking too much, so Chelsea can speak to the recruitment side of things. But I have definitely found that the personal touch in the recruitment feature is really what moves the needle for us. And so being able to send those, 99, I think, messages a day to individual students, and to be able to, filter specific students by interest level and age level and location and whatnot, has been really helpful in being targeted about who we reach out to. I really feel like through all of our marketing efforts, it's been the personal touch that has really made the difference. And so the recruitment network allows us to do that.
Awesome.
Yes, Chelsea, well, you're like,
nothing. Go ahead. It's great.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for your time. This has been a really awesome conversation. And I think there's a lot of amazing things for people to learn from what you guys have done with the Songbook Academy. And I'm excited to share this with other organizations that are, trying to figure this out. And we're all going through this together, and we're just trying to figure it out, right? Trying to figure out how to make it work the best for young artists and to continue to just move forward. So before we close up, do you guys have anything else you want to add? Anything else that you want to say that we maybe have skipped over or missed?
I would say my only final thoughts here would be that, it's true. We're all going through this together. And so we're, the Songbook Academy, the Songbook Foundation, our staff is here to assist and answer questions however we can. We are always looking to partner with other programs and learn from what other organizations are doing. We know that it's the arts world is a creative world, and there's so many innovative solutions to reaching students. So, all I'll say is that we're blessed to be a part of that community, and looking forward to working with other programs who are doing great things.
Thank you so much for sharing all of your amazing insights and help for other programs. One of the things I kept hearing you say is that you like to listen to what other programs are doing and help each other. I think that's such a beautiful message to leave everyone with, because we do tend to feel like, well, it's our program and we, want to keep it to ourselves, but it's so much nicer when we actually share ideas with each other and become stronger throughout our organizations.
Absolutely. We're all part of the same community, and ultimately, if we're helping each other, we're just reaching more kids. So I think that's really special about the community we're a part of.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, thank you both so much, and we wish you the best this year, and we look forward to continuing to work with you.
Thank you so much, and thanks for this opportunity. We really appreciate it.